Holy shit.
Hey, dude.
Is that Selden?
Yeah, how's it going, man?
Damn, bro, you grew your hair out, huh?
I did since the last time. Well, it was still pretty long when we saw each other last, I think.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, welcome to the Best Average Podcast, man. How you been?
I've been pretty well. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. I've been super excited to actually have this episode with you because, you and I have known each other for a long time, and you and I have a lot of history together, right?
We do. Very interesting history, that is for sure.
Yeah, we've had a
Are we recording right now?
Yeah, we're on. So
Yeah.
we're already on. Frank Dominguez, I think you were watching his episode. I saw your comment about his genuine laugh. He was caught off guard by the fact that we just start right away. But the whole idea is, we just start, you feel me? Like we just go right in.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we're just talking. We're just
how
hanging out.
known each other, man. Because for the people that don't know you, you're Selden Cummings. You're the homie. You're a god musician. You're in New York now, right? But you're from Santa Barbara. Do you want to tell a little bit about how we've known each other and a little bit about our history and your history to get us going here?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
Coachella real quick.
Trying to. Oh yeah, good. I got some tea. I'm on quarantine right now, so I
Mm.
gotta you know be all healthy. Um, so where do I start, man? How long have we known each other? I think we've known each other for at least 7 or 8 years at this point,
Really? Holy shit.
right? I mean, we were maybe even. No, I'm pretty sure we joined the Maheekats in like 2012. I want to say.
Holy fuck. Really?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, when I look like at least like the timeline of my life, that makes sense to me. And I think I met you when I just went to jam with those guys. I'm pretty sure. Do you remember the very first time we met? Because I can't really.
No, dude, I just know that like I've known you for a long ass time. And like when I met you, you were more like you had shorter hair. You were a little bit more like into like pop punk, I guess I'll say. I think you probably still are. You were in Relapse Party, right? You're in the local band, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you were in.
Yeah. Um, I mean, Relapse Party, we were mainly active from like 2010 to 2012, but after 2000, 2011, Lyle and I, the lead singer, and I went to live in London for a semester, and that kind of, um, put us on hiatus. And then we only had a couple more gigs and practices after that. So I think I was kind of looking for a new band, and that's why it worked out perfectly that the Maheekats were, looking for a drummer and everything, because Clara and Craig had been playing together for quite a while before that.
A long ass time. Yeah, they've been together since 2000. So maybe just to give us all a context here, because just there's people who are really interested, like in my audience, in like learning about you because you're like not only someone I've known a long time, but like a long lost internet member too, like who was
Oh
in
yeah.
the group and like had an important role that in my life because I was like drifting at the time and stuff. And it sounds like with Maheekats. So just give it. Who are the Maheekats? Can you tell us that?
So the Maheekats are this married couple,
Yeah.
Clara and Craig. Um, they they're just they're California musicians. They play dreamy, sort of like ethereal, but sometimes heavy stuff. It kind of reminds me of like an amalgamation of like Sonic Youth and Smashing Pumpkins, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Hell yeah, it does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know
Like
them.
maybe a little bit more melodic than Sonic Youth, but still they've got that kind of. It's a very unique vibe, and I do really enjoy their music.
Yeah.
Um, and they've been playing together for a long time. They're a bit older. I think that
Yeah.
they
A bit.
were born in like the 70s or 80s, something
God
like that.
damn.
Probably.
I'm
They'd
just.
probably be irritated.
They're gonna see this and be like, "Fuck you guys."
Yeah, seriously, like that's all you can think about. That's all you can talk about. It's our age.
Yeah.
My dad would be.
That's a good description. So you were in a local band, like 2010s, Relapse Party. I don't know if that was your first band or what, but then you and I met when you jammed with the Maheekats because Relapse Party was on a hiatus. You and Lyle went to London. Shout out Lyle. I haven't talked to that fool in a while. I hope he's doing okay. And
He's working on a tugboat right now.
go ahead. What'd you say?
He's working on a tugboat right now.
That's so
He's
sick.
out in the ocean, yeah, but he's still playing music and stuff, so he's doing well.
Yeah,
Really well.
he's a cool guy. He's a funny guy. I don't know if he ever liked my stuff, but that's okay. You don't need to. And then we met at a jam together with the Maheekats. Was I already in
I mean, you knew them before I did, and I think that actually it might have been a Relapse Party show that Craig came up to me and he was like, "Hey, we're looking for a drummer, and it would be great if you could, jam with us." And I'm like, "Dude, our band's kind of falling apart right now. I would love to."
Oh, you? Okay, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I just remember saying yes, and then showing up to the practice space that was downtown on,
It's on Haley, I think. No.
below City College, like La Brisa,
It was
that area.
Daniel's place. Daniel.
Yes, Daniel's place.
Well, yeah, I forgot his
Daniel Fishbonus.
on Facebook. His last name is Fishbonius, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's in. I don't know what band he's in now, but he's part of the scene.
He was in Angela Beatcraft Flying Machine, I think, but I don't know if that's still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
So
we used practice space. I remember that I didn't realize you had your own thing going on. I thought you were just like the rhythm guitarist for the Maheekats. But I think internet was already happening back then, right? Yeah. When did the internet start?
2010 or like late 2009. So it's either in between like November 2009 and like, I don't know, early 2010 is when the idea started to come to place. By the time you met me, the version of that version of internet had disintegrated. So that's why I was in like bands at that point, because I wasn't actually.
Yeah.
I never let go of the name, but I also was not really in a. It wasn't a band anymore, so it was just a name and a project for me at that time.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. Right. Yeah, I remember that. I remember you just learning that you had your own stuff going on, and you would show me some of your songs after practices and stuff, later on while we were in the Maheekats.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what was the Maheekats like? Can you tell us about that time then in the Maheekats with us two together?
I think that, yeah, for me personally, I think the most growth I had as a drummer was during my time in the Maheekats.
Wow.
Because Craig was a bassist, and he's a drummer himself, and all of the songs that I learned, he had already recorded drum tracks for them, and I just kind of learned his drum parts and then incorporated some of my own stuff. But he was so, he's a really good teacher, and he was very, very much, professional kind of studio musician,
right?
Almost background. He had this way of always making sure that things were as tight as they could be, and that sounds kind of obvious, like, well, what band wouldn't do that? But, I've played in a lot of bands, and it's, not all bands are like that, which is fine. I mean, sometimes it's more fun to just jam and go off the rails and everything. But Craig, a lot of his music, he really liked, like ska, like early ska bands.
Yeah.
That song "Mirror in the Bathroom"?
Is that a Maheekat song or somebody else?
No. It's by the name of the band, "Mirror in the Bathroom." The door is locked, just you and me. Can you take you to a restaurant with all glass tables?
No, but
you can watch yourself. the beat, by
Okay.
the beat. So
Okay.
that song has a very kind of like early ska, like, you know, and the drums are just very like just four on the floor with the hi-hat. And
Yeah.
you know, usually young drummers, like I was 20 or whatever at the time, it was just always about like how fast can you play and how hard can you play and everything, especially with my own, you know, beginning as a drummer had been completely influenced by Dave Grohl. Like I just wanted to hit
Yeah.
as hard as I could and just big flams and, you know, like John Bonham style. Exactly. Exactly. Um, so Craig he was like, look, maybe you can play fast, whatever, who cares? You really just need to be able to hold this beat at this tempo for 3 minutes. And if you can do that, then, you know, you can branch off and start doing other stuff. And even doing that, it's hard. It's harder than you think, you know, and it helped me develop a deeper respect for all drummers that are professional. Like even someone like Ringo, who, you know, is always made fun of for having way too simplistic drum parts and drum fills. It is so fucking hard to drum for a band and keep shit together. I mean, it's not a joke, you know, so it doesn't matter how simple it is. There are very few drummers who would be able to be in a band that big, the biggest band, and hold it together like he did, you know. So
That's
it just kind of changed my perspective on drumming, I think.
that's amazing. So Craig really helped you to like develop a deeper respect for the drums. You know how happy he's going to be to hear that, and he might be like, "Damn it, why did I kick him out?" I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, that's one half of the coin of the story of the Maheekats,
No, but
because the other, you got kicked out first, or
oh,
you left. I don't even.
blasted the fuck out of there, bro. I got strapped.
So what happened? I don't remember your side of the story.
I'd like to hear. Do you know their side? Because what I remember here, I'll just tell you my side real quick. What I remember is that I used a practice space that we were paying for like my stuff, and they didn't like it. And I'm sure it was like a buildup of other stuff that I don't even remember at this point, but that probably felt like a subversion or something, maybe. You know, I'm gonna have them on at some point, and I'll ask them. But
Yeah, that'd be great.
yeah, that was
You
what I
should.
recall. You know,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely want to preface reminiscing about this with the fact that I don't know about you, but I was, you know, using a lot of the time and drinking and
oh,
getting fucked up like all the time
God.
during that time period. Yeah, 2010 to 2012 was a really bad time for me, so I don't really remember very well.
Yeah, me
Which,
neither. That's the thing. Like I was blasted a lot of the time as a sound
yeah.
engineer, and I've really anyway. But yeah, go. But good preface. Good preface. Well said. Well said.
So yeah, I mean, I just don't really remember. Like, I think you and them had disagreements. I think at least what I remember is it was more of an artistic thing. I mean, I'm sure there was some stuff about practice space and everything, but it felt like you wanted, you know, because you're a band leader. Like I see you as kind of like you naturally step into a role as band leader. So
Yeah.
it seems more difficult for you to be a rhythm guitarist. And because of that, you weren't able to just be like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and play your songs. You wanted to have your own stuff and put your own, and you're a singer as well. And it's hard to be in a band and not sing, you know?
Yeah.
So, so I felt like you weren't really trying to be, oh, I'm going to stay in this band no matter what. It was kind of like, okay, you know, you didn't fight to stay in the band, right?
Yeah. That's probably accurate. You know, and I think nowadays, yeah. You know what? That's probably very accurate. So I don't remember any of the details of that, but that seems like it would probably ring true because it was the point where I was like in my life where it's like I was kind of not going from band to band because I think we were in the Maheekats like you and I a good while, no? Like maybe like a year or something.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's like that's not a ton of time, but it's also pretty substantive.
I
And
mean, we played a lot of shows together.
we did, yeah. I actually remember that people were really liking the band. You know, people started to really like what we were doing because like it was you and me. Clara's a fucking amazing singer. She's still one of the best singers that I think I've just heard in general. And then
Yeah.
they write really cool songs. So it was a combination of the fact that their songs with a real band and like you, who obviously you're a cool guy and like girls love you and people like you a lot and like all that stuff, I think was a killer combo. But yeah, ultimately, I think what you're saying just resonates as generally true. I don't know if I remember any particular details of that. I think Craig can probably, and Clara, maybe to a lesser extent, can probably color that in a little bit more. I think it was more like Craig and I, more than like Clara and Craig and I, or whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's probably something like that. I remember like starting to be like, man, I need to be doing my own thing. But it took a little while to get back to that point because that's how you and I started playing together, right? Like what happened? So we were in the band. We played together for a little while in Maheekats. You learned that I was a musician, like doing my own thing too.
Mm.
You and I were both drinking a lot at the time. It sounds like you're saying you were using. I don't think I was using anything other than like weed or whatever, you know. Um, and then eventually I got kicked out. And eventually you got kicked out.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And the way that I got kicked out, it was just, I felt like, looking back, without being arrogant, I want to say that I was a good drummer. I was a solid drummer. Like I could be reliable for my drum parts.
You were, dude.
But when
You're good.
when it came, well, thank you.
You
When it
slammed,
came
man.
to
Like you hit that shit hard. I
me,
remember. Like when we played Dragon. You remember that song Dragon?
yeah,
It's the dragon.
yeah, yeah,
Like you fucking beat the fuck out of that song. That song was sick to play.
dude, I loved your songs, man. They're so great. I need to wait. Do you have recordings of all those songs we used to play, or do you still play
Oh, well,
parts
that
of
was
them?
a Mighty Cat song, but no. I mean, I don't think so. I maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, but Dragon,
Dragon is a Mighty Cat song.
I don't think they ever put that out anywhere.
Oh, I'm
They
sure.
put, like, do you remember Dance of a Thousand Fools and
Yeah.
Dungeon Mater? I remember, but I don't think Dragon, like, do you have like any live recordings
I
of the band? I mean, there've got to be some somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think I might. They should be better archivists of that, if that's the case. But I do remember like seeing some scattered videos or like scattered recordings of it. But I just remember like in the songs where the goal was to like hit heavy, you would like hit pretty really heavy. So yeah, anyway, I'm agreeing with you. You're a solid drummer.
Yeah, that reminds me though of well, we'll get to that. We'll get to the internet stuff that I want to talk about. But yeah, I think as a musician I could be relied upon, but as all the stuff around that, I was very unreliable because I would, I'd be late to practice and I would, get too drunk and fall asleep and
Yeah, baby, at practice.
stuff like that, and you know, so in that sense, I think it was absolutely reasonable for them to kick me out, and I'm kind of surprised that they stuck with me as long as they did because I was really fucked up, and really actually it wasn't only getting fucked up, it was being just kind of irresponsible and stupid. I mean, it was kind of like I was just a teenager, like they Craig had this really nice drum set that
Yeah,
he he had cases for it and everything, and he really took good care of it.
right.
And there were so many times where I just like played it and then just left and didn't help break it down or anything. Like I regret this, and I feel bad about it. And one of those times, Craig called me and he was just so pissed because what had happened, I think it was a gig at Euphoria. It was just, once again, I had just played the gig, gotten drunk, and just left.
Yeah.
And then Clara had done all the work of breaking down the drum set
Yeah.
and just doing it all by herself, because Craig was like dealing with some other, actual business things, and I'm just gone. And so she had to do it. I think that's what happened. And I got a call from him, and he was just so angry, and he was like, "That's it, man, we're done." And it's funny because even now at the time, I can imagine being defensive, and being like, well, but it's not my fault. It's like entirely my fault, So, but I mean, also that was a good lesson to realize, a band is a team effort, and you can't pull that shit, especially because I think I was frustrated because I've been playing in bands for so many years, and you just get inundated with these stories of rock stars, and that they just play their music and then they don't have to worry about it, and there's roadies that take down the gear and stuff, and I was just like, fuck this shit, I'm done. I've put so many drum sets in cars. It wasn't like fuck this, you take care of it. It was more just like, I don't want to deal with it, I'm not even going to think about it, but of course that led to them taking care of it, which got me kicked out. So I mean, it was totally reasonable and understandable, but we're still on relatively good terms when we have talked. I mean, Claire was always super nice. Like she just kind of left it with Craig. I remember asking her, like, is this serious? Like, is he serious right now? Because I think he had threatened to kick me out before, and she's like, it's all up to you guys, I don't want to get involved, so yeah, that's basically what happened with the Maheekats. And I think after that, I just wasn't healthy. I wasn't doing well, and music wasn't as important to me as it should have been. So I didn't make that much of an effort to get back in the band.
Right. Well,
because I could
yeah.
have cleaned up.
I was going to ask you, what did when you said I can imagine myself being defensive, do you mean like if the same thing happened now, you would behave the same, or you just mean like you can rewind yourself back to that and like remember yourself being defensive at that point?
Yeah, it's easy to get back into the mindset, that kind of teenage mindset of like, well, like, well, I played the gig, so why do I have to, do any extra work? It's like, it's like I can chastise my past self while at the same time understanding why he behaved like that.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally understood. And I mean, I can also imagine you being like not, you're not like the driver of the band, so you kind of looking at it as like, well, that's your responsibility because it's your band and like it's your equipment, and you want me to play for you. It's not like I'm writing songs or like have any ownership of this. So
Exactly.
with like the gigging musician, so I could see that that thought in mind too. So I can see that one both ways actually, but obviously helping to break down equipment and stuff is just a nice to do. And poor little Clara, she's such a sweetheart, and she's always just down to handle stuff. So I always appreciate that about her. And so her and Craig are like the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
A little bit in that regard. But that's cool. It's cool that you're like looking back on that and reflecting, because that's all important stuff for sure.
I think what happens, is you get caught up in just bad habits and feeling bad about things, and it's just kind of this vicious cycle. Like I think them kicking me out, like it hurt my feelings, even though it was my fault. So instead of reacting in like a mature, okay, I'm going to make a change, it was more like, fuck them. What the fuck is their problem? Fuck this, I'm out of here, kind of reaction, which is just so stupid, because it was entirely my fault. And if I had, done a better job of carrying my weight, then I'm sure that we could have just kept playing and, gone on to bigger and better. I mean, not necessarily bigger and better. There's no hope for musicians nowadays, but like we could have played more gigs at least.
I think they had the potential to be a little bit bigger and better for sure, especially around that time. Like, I don't know if you remember, but 2012 like just that entire area from like what 2010 to like 2016 or something, like music was started, like I think it had a potential to like really pop off here. So I don't know why I didn't. I think just it's hard. But I think there was real
Yeah.
for it too, because there was music happening, like there was the fun zone, there was the Euphoria place. I just think no one ever really had it together enough for it to like actually become something more real than it was. You know, I definitely didn't have it together enough at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's hard to take advantage of a scene when it's actually happening. You don't even realize it's a scene, you know?
Right.
With Relapse Party, we really had, you know, like a dozen, maybe 15 people who would follow us and really come to all the shows and really enjoyed the music and just hanging out with that punk crowd. And I thought, I just kind of took it for granted, like, oh, this is how it is in Santa Barbara. And nowadays I look for a punk scene, and you know, I mean, obviously since COVID things have been weird, but it's just not like it was, you
No,
know.
no. I mean, rock is basically dead. That's my opinion. But
Yeah,
we don't really see like a lot of rock bands other than like at a brewery or something playing covers and stuff like that, or like at a bar. But no one really. It's not like anyone really cares, from what I have observed.
yeah, yeah, I agree. It sucks, but that's the way it is.
It's all good. I don't mind it. It's an opportunity, in my opinion. But okay. So once you got kicked out, and then I was out. I don't remember what I did after I got kicked out. Was I in Raw in the Fire after Maheekats? Do you know, or before Maheekats? Do you remember Raw in the Fire? Like, do you remember that
I
band?
don't.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
that's okay. But how did you end
You
up coming?
play guitar in that band?
I played bass.
You play bass. Oh, maybe I do remember that. I feel like they coincided or something. Like you told me, like, oh, I played bass for this other band or something.
Okay,
That
yeah.
sounds accurate. I don't-
Yeah, I remember like starting to be like a band slut a little bit because
yeah.
I wasn't doing my own thing. So, and I think that's the part that ended up getting me like not frustrated, but just realizing that yeah, I'm not really meant to be in other people's things. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that you needed to become your own band leader, and that's good. I mean, that's how you found yourself in a way, I think.
yeah. I think so too. Because my shit fell apart, and so I had to go through like a journey to end up coming back to the same place, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And how did
Exactly.
how did you and I end up working together though? So after Mahikat, what happened there? Do you remember?
So after Mahi Cats, there was a good period of time where I wasn't in any band. So the way that I kind of like organize the memory of my own life is everything's based around summer of 2013 because that's when I got sober.
Oh,
And that, and I know, and that's kind of when things turned around for me.
yeah.
And that's when I lived in a sober living home, and then I moved to Salinas, and I was working at the zoo, and I was living on Salinas, and I was going to City College, and that's when I joined the internet, and I'm not sure
Cool.
how exactly it. I feel like we just kind of knew each other from the Maheekats, and then one day you texted me, you're like, "Hey man, you want to jam sometime?" And we went over to Phil's practice space,
Yeah.
and we just started playing, and it was kind of a perfect location to practice and perfect opportunity to jam together, right? Isn't that how it happened?
I think that's probably right because I don't have anything to refute that, and it sounds like about right because I don't have like a specific memory of us like starting to be in the band together. But wasn't Stephen Hendricks involved and Frank, my brother?
Yes. Yes, they were. So I'm not sure at what point it went from, it's always hard to tell when it goes from jamming to actual, band practice.
Yeah.
But Frank was playing bass and Steven was playing guitar.
Okay.
And it was awesome. I mean, it was great. I loved going to practice. I was really busy. I was also working at Rite Aid, so I was,
I remember that. I remember that.
you remember that
Yeah.
on Milpas there,
Yeah.
and I was like the night manager, so I had to like close up and then run over for practice. Um, that was a crazy, that was an interesting time, that's for sure. But it was really fun to be able to practice and have this space, which was a fantastic space. And Phil was so cool for letting us, you know, use it. And I mean, I'm sure you paid him or something, or I don't know what the deal was, but we just.
I'm sure I paid him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. What's he doing, by the way? Have you talked
Dude,
to him?
no, I don't think, and I think he's not my friend anymore. Like he got mad at me because I didn't invite him to a barbecue. That I didn't know he would have wanted to come to, like at my house, a while back, and he's not my friend anymore. So,
Because of that.
yeah, I think so. You know, in other stuff, you'd have to ask him if you ever run into him. But from what I'm understanding, he's like kind of disconnected himself from most people. Like a lot of people don't know what's up with Phil or what he's up to, etc. So it's been a while.
Eating Fear still. That was his band, right? Eating Fear.
Eating Fear, yeah.
Are they still
No.
doing? Not at all.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think Phil's in the band. I think Phil, last I knew of him, which was now a while back, he was at High Tide. Um, and and I don't know since then what he's been doing. Like we were great friends for a long time. We're like pretty much best
Yeah.
for a while,
Great.
but no, I have no idea. No idea. That like he had been like drifting a little bit too. Like he had a job, and I mean, there's 2020 between 2020 and 2012 is a lot to cover, right? So,
Yeah.
but if I can give you punchlines, like he had moved to Texas for a while, and then he had to go back. Like we reconnected when he came back, and we were friends again for a while, and then it kind of went away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Because he's a cool guy, but I know he's also has a lot of like issues with people, you know, and issues with him, which I don't think I'll get into the details of that, but yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I mean, I just remember sharing the practice space and hearing them practice sometimes, and
Yeah.
it sounded really good. They were really tight.
They were really tight. Yeah, Phil's a really good guitarist. John, their bassist, was really good, and then Fabian, of course, he's an awesome drummer.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
He was such a nice guy too. I remember him. He just had these double bass patterns where he would just sit there and just, you know, just practice so hard. I love that. That heavy metal mentality is kind of, it's so mathematical. A lot of times the guys in heavy metal are like that, where they're just like, I'm going to go here and I'm going to do this and it's going to go, you know, and it's just, you know, and it reflects this kind of, that that feeling that it has to be like as tight and as clean as possible, you know.
Yeah, it's all about that. Like they really judge themselves off like how clean and perfect the little intervals in hits are for sure. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm glad you remember that as like a good time then, because I do too. I almost wonder because that era of the band was somehow the least productive, which is odd because I remember it being cool. So I think it brought that up to me actually more than anything.
Well, I mean, I think it was a lot of factors. Like for me personally, since I was so busy with other stuff, it was kind of like I said, this new time in my life where things were coming to fruition, you know, in terms of school and work, and so it was fun to be in a band, but then I just went off and, you know, went to school. And so I wasn't able to, you know, 'cause it was kind of like I switched priorities, if anything, but in a more positive way. Instead of stopping playing music to drink and party, it was like stop playing music to go to school, you know. But I think I was playing the drums for you for at least, I don't know, 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, like I remember it being like a short amount of time, but like a good time. Did we play any gigs with this lineup? Do you remember?
I know we did, because I have like, I don't have it with me, but I have like this little ledger of gigs that I've played, and I know Internet has like 5 or 6, and I don't know where they were, like maybe some of the last Euphoria shows before they closed. We might have played at Whiskey's.
Okay.
I was gonna say the Beco, but maybe we didn't play at the Beco.
I don't remember us doing Beco now.
Yeah.
I see us doing
But
it in maybe Whiskey. Maybe Fun Zone? Was that ever a thing?
possibly. I mean, I think that was when Muddy Waters was still around, right? Which is outside the funk zone, but I think we played there, or it was just part of the scene and everything. I mean, I just remember feeling like, as is the case with so many different bands, that it was kind of the right fit at the wrong time,
Right.
at least for me.
That's so cool.
Like I feel like you and I have a very similar music taste and a similar idea of what we wanted to achieve in the music. And like, I really, as a drummer, I'm kind of picky when it comes to like who I'm gonna play drums for as a songwriter,
Yeah.
And I think you're a really strong songwriter, and I think you're a good lyricist.
Yeah.
And I definitely respect your kind of 90s influence, because that's my primary influence as a musician. And I remember we'd spent a lot of time talking about Smashing Pumpkins, especially.
Yeah.
And go off. I mean, I wish I could remember like specific songs. I don't know if there's any songs in your set list that you still play. And this is what I wanted to bring up. This is what I want to ask about, is there was one song in particular that we always disagreed on. And it was like, I think it was like one of those it was almost like a Wolf Mother sounding song, like, kind of like that swingy hard rock groove.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a part where it was like, I felt like you should cut off the distortion, and you wanted to keep it distorted like the whole time, but I thought like, oh, we should go clean there and it would be so much better. It's not really important, but I just wanted to remember what that song was and hear it again.
So let me share my screen, and I think I do know what song that is. Can I share my screen and you'll tell me if it's the song that I put on here real quick? Let's see. So how do I? This is like the Joe Rogan Experience, man. I don't know if you watch it, because I can, like, this is my Jamie, because
you're Jamie.
Yeah, because like, I'm sharing my screen. I'm putting it on here right now.
You're Jamie and Joe, or is your computer Jamie? Is that what you're saying?
The computer is Jamie.
Computer is Jamie.
Yeah. Let's see. So I think, is it this song? Oh God. I hope I don't embarrass myself by not being able to find my own. Okay, great. That's cool. I actually show up now when I type in my stuff. Is it this song?
Oh my God, I think it might be.
Hold on.
You got to pay for your own music, dude.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's see if this shit works.
Carriage, yeah, I remember these.
Okay.
La Bruja.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, this is totally it.
And is this the part then where? Let me put on.
I'm trying to remember.
Was it right here where you think it should have like gotten clean?
I feel like we'll play the start one more time. It might have been the intro. Is it playing?
Yeah, can you hear it?
Yeah, I couldn't hear it.
Oh, one sec. Maybe it's low volume. Can you hear this?
There we go. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think that I wanted it to go when your vocals come in, that it gets clean. That
Uh,
it's like it's part loud and hard, and then it's like da-na-na, you show me a painting, you know, and it gets nice and quiet, and then that makes the chorus pop, you know. I don't know why, but I just remember that so well. And
wow.
argue that because like we agreed on everything else, but that was like one thing, you know.
How 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 um how how deep did that one get? Like, and I can totally see me being like, nah, man, it's like supposed to be intense the whole time, you know?
Yeah, I remember that. You were like, I want this sound, you know, and I think Steven and Frank were just like, I don't care, you know. And I was like, come on, you guys, like this sounds so much better. Like if it were just like the bass right there, you know, or something. Because
Yeah,
I'm all about the dynamics, you know. I like having heavy dynamics in the
right.
music.
That's
But
so
yeah.
that's so funny too. So, what was I gonna ask you about that? Because I can totally see me being like, and that's so interesting too, because I always butt heads with people that are about dynamics. Like, so that's cool that you're saying that, and it's interesting to see that parallel because it always happens, even like up to this day. Like, I don't know if you know my friend Andrew Baker at all. Do you know him at all?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, but he's a guy who's like all about dynamics. And one thing he always says about my music is that he thinks it needs more dynamics. And I'm always like, fuck no, like why? Who cares? You know, but he's like, because dude, people like to like be taken on a roller coaster ride. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but I like just going like,
Yeah, just going straight up. And I
yeah,
definitely hear that in your music. Um, yeah, I think that the dynamics is definitely more of a pop. It's become more of a pop gimmick these days. Like you can really use it to your advantage. It's kind of like the bass drop, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like it, or I mean the beat drop. Like everybody, you know, every DJ knows that if you just make like some build up, go and then just stop and go then
yeah,
like everyone is going to be like, oh, this is sick, even though it sounds the same every single time, you know. And that actually reminds me, one of the reasons that I left the internet,
yeah.
and I think this was all around the same time, was
I can't
because I
wait.
joined this EDM group called
Yeah,
Drop.
I can't. Oh yes, I'm so glad that you're going to talk about that because I've always wanted to learn more about that. And I remember that you left that and you joined this thing, and then I saw like on SoundCloud like 20,000 views or something like that. But yes, please tell us about this.
Yeah, well, basically what happened is my friend Ethan Davis, who's, you know, pretty big DJ in the Santa Barbara scene and producer.
Shout out
Um,
to Davis.
he became, and his brother Caleb, who I actually just posted something funny in the Santa Barbara music scene on Facebook. He posted something like, "Oh, I've been looking for the SB music scene forever, but
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was online."
that was so fucking funny. Tell it again in case, because I just so he yeah Ethan, your friend Ethan Davis went onto the Santa Barbara music scene group on Facebook. Shout out Santa Barbara music scene on Facebook. Make sure you find it and follow it. And he posted what again? He went on and said, "Oh,
Well, Ethan's older brother,
okay,
Caleb, who's also a musician in the scene. He's before our time though. He's a bit older than us.
yeah,
He I forget. I wish I could remember his band's name. It was like something with a hammer in it, like Warhammer or something cool.
hell yeah,
Anyway, he posted, "I've been looking for the Santa Barbara music scene for years. I didn't realize it was online."
yeah, I love
I
that.
know. I thought that was pretty good.
That was fucking
So yeah.
yeah. I didn't.
um,
That's cool.
yeah. So, but Ethan and I were, you know, we're the same age, and we graduated high school together, and we've been playing music together, just kind of jamming like acoustic stuff. He's much more on the other side of the spectrum and into like much more poppy music, just kind of everything mainstream. I mean, he consumes kind of everything. and he became a DJ after high school and a producer, and he just taught himself, and he got really good at it, to the point where he's still literally just making his living in Los Angeles off of his music. Not only the royalties he's gotten from music that he's released, but also just being a producer for other professional musicians.
Really?
So he's definitely the most successful musician that I know. And when we were, I think it was like 2014, actually, 2015.
Yeah.
He and another friend of ours named Ray, they had this vision of starting this EDM group. Basically, they wanted to be, do you know Swedish House Mafia?
Yeah.
The three-man group from Sweden. We wanted to be like them, or that was their vision, like to three guys who are DJs who write their own music, and they're going to have like these big stadium shows. So it was like, we're going to be huge. It was one of those classic, just, we'd get together and we'd have all these, we have Ethan's production skills. Ray just has worked for a bunch of celebrities and stuff in and around Santa Barbara and LA. So we have connections, and like the three of us are all musically inclined. Like we're going to be famous within a year. We were so ambitious. And for me, it was, even though I had fun at certain times, I have to admit that I feel kind of ashamed of, I think it's the most I've ever sold out as an artist or as a musician, because it was like that sound of like, we're going to be famous and we're going to make a lot of money, was just, I didn't even think like, oh, I hate this music. And I never listened to this music, like I would never listen to it.
I always wondered, Selden. I was like, because it was like a total 180, but I was like, fuck yeah, that's cool. But wow, how
yeah, I mean,
can you dive into this though a little bit, because you just gave like a really cool punchline in that, like, wait, because I was about to ask you, so like what did you bring to that dynamic? Because I remember, because you're not a producer, right? You don't know how to DJ, and that was one of the things that I thought about when I saw you were part of this, because I was like, oh, I wonder what Selden does in this, because I don't think he produces, and if he did, then
yeah,
well, I don't know how I never learned about that.
That's
rapping or like singing, maybe?
Yeah, so it kind of, I think, it's very easy to trick yourself. It's very easy to fall into denial about things. And I think one of the ways that I talked myself into like completely betraying my punk rock and grunge roots, was to say, look, this is what the Beatles did. The Beatles wrote really catchy, poppy music to get famous. And then once they were big, that's when they wrote their real artistic stuff. So I'm going to do the same thing. If this is what I have to do, then this is what I have to do. I'll have some crappy, Calvin Harris DJ songs and get famous. And then I'm going to like put out my real stuff. That was like my idea, which, obviously didn't work.
In fact, to be honest with you, like that is not a terrible idea, but
yeah, but still, just the way that I went about it, which exactly how you described it, is a complete 180. I mean, having no DJ experience or EDM experience, Ray and Ethan really, they needed a third person. They knew me. We all kind of have a similar look. We all had like shorter hair at the time, and we kind of had this good dynamic, the three of us. And just my experience as a musician and as a singer and as a rapper, especially, because that was when I was getting into doing just, I would, put out these like videos where I'd like do these like really fast white boy rap kind of things, and they were very, they were like, dude, we could totally use that. And like, we'll have some sick beats. And, basically they just kind of took the wheel, and I was along for the ride as occasionally a person who would perform live. We had two shows, actually. We had one in San Diego and one in Los Angeles. Both were really big shows.
Yeah.
bigger shows than I would normally play for, you know, like my own bands or stuff, like 300, 400 people type clubs, you know,
Wow.
like just big. I mean, but that's why people become DJs, because it's so much easier to get an audience like that. You know, would you rather have 30 people who are fans of your band and actually like your music, or would you have 400 people who just kind of like the idea of a DJ, you know? And we're playing covers, you know, we'd stick one or two of our own songs in there. It's not a real show in that sense, you know. There's a lot of people, so you feel like, oh my God, we're like blowing up, but we're not.
Yeah.
And even though we did, okay, well, sorry, there's a lot to,
I know.
there's a lot to go.
This is my favorite ever. I'm so happy because I always wanted to learn about. What was it called, by the way? Can you tell us the name of the group?
Dropout.
That's right. Yep.
Dropout. Yeah, and it's still going. I mean, I don't think they've put out music in a while, but I'll get to that. So basically, we got a deal with Warner Brothers. We signed a deal for I think it was like a 3-song EP, or like 3 singles over the course of like 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And the first song we put out was called So Long, featuring Zada. Her name's Michelle. She's a singer in Santa Barbara, who's a great singer. And that song, you know, because we had the connections we did, gained, you know, I think to this day it has over 2 million views on YouTube or something. You know, most of the songs we put out on YouTube and SoundCloud and stuff garnered more than 1 million views. And it was such a fascinating experience for me, because I'd always dreamed about that, like putting out a song that would have 1 million views. Like that is the benchmark, 1 million views. But then I remember I remember this so well, sitting at my computer and just like looking at the view count for this group. Like there's my picture, there's my face, you know, the 3 of us, and it has 1 million views. And I'm just like, what? Does anybody notice this? You know, like it was just nothing. It means nothing. And that was a huge realization for me. I mean, not that it's like completely nothing. Obviously, if you put out your own song that you really are artistically invested in, and it gets 1 million views, that's a big deal. What I mean is 1 million views doesn't mean you're famous. Fame is something that, and success is something entirely different. You know, it's a whole other level. So to come out with a song that gets some hits, it didn't do anything. And we didn't really make any money. I mean, you know, like spending money. Like occasionally I'll get some checks in the mail from the Dropout experience. I get like royalties. Sometimes I get like a $200 check, you know, but like that every 6 months is like.
No, it's not. You're gonna live off that. But it's like,
it's not.
It
trickles, yeah. He's not paying the bills though, you know. So, but it's one of those things, just like everything else, where I feel like if I could go back in time, we could have made it better and been successful. But we just had such different philosophies on what to do with the music that I don't think it was ever going to work. Like Ethan and I, we've collaborated on stuff, and I think we are capable of making good songs together. I mean, we haven't put a lot of them out that we've done together, but for the most part, I've always described our relationship as like, it's like later John Lennon versus Paul McCartney, not to fucking compare ourselves to them. What I mean by that is just
the dynamic.
What again?
The dynamic.
The dynamic, exactly. Like one of them is more adept at writing poppier songs and singing better. The other one's more interested in like grittier stuff. But well, in either case, Ethan is a much better singer than I am.
Okay.
But we still have written some stuff and gotten along together. But in Dropout, it was like I was just so removed from that scene and like trying to be a part of it that it just didn't work out. The closest it ever came was that for our shows, we decided to have live drumming, because most DJs don't have that. And we thought, oh, this will be a cool idea. This will be a different thing to make us unique. And it was a fantastic idea, and it totally worked. What we did was, since Ray doesn't play drums, but he DJs, he was in the middle DJing. And then I was on the side and Ethan was on the side, and we had a floor tom. We each had 2 floor toms that were mic'd. So we were just like, it was kind of like Blue Man Group, you know, just like these heavy fills and like dancing. Like we played Hey Ya, you know, Outcast. So it'd be like, hey ya, you know, do, ka, do, you know, and like everyone just loved it. It was so much fun. And that's where I would go back in time and say, you guys, this fucking worked. Like people really enjoyed that. We should do that more often. But basically what happened is we didn't see the success that we wanted to see. So so basically Ethan and Ray, as George Carlin would put it, they curtailed redundancies in the human resources department. They kicked me out, basically.
Why you?
Because they were closer and they were more you know, developed in the scene. They had the connections. They didn't need me, you know, like I didn't produce the songs. I write my own songs.
Yeah.
But they never wanted to use the songs that I wrote. They never thought they were good enough, which totally makes sense. Like I can't write a song like, you know, Calvin Harris. I just hate that music. I mean, that's kind of like, oh, I can't write it because it's not good enough for me kind of bullshit.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean, though? Like you can't write, it's hard to write songs outside of your preferred genre.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I can't.
And there is a talent, even though like I grew up just despising the mainstream, and I definitely feel like being in Dropout made me more open to the idea of mainstream music, that there is talent behind some of these songs. It's not super, even though it's like just out of a computer, it's not like just anyone could do it, because you can't. It's not that simple. It's hard to make that music. I just think it lacks the artistic touch of a real instrument. You know, that's my biggest problem with it. So I was so excited when we added drums, and I wish we had done more of that. But again, you know, it's easy to sit in the future and be like, well, this is what we should have done, you know. You know, Ethan actually put it really well. Like a couple weeks ago, I told him, I was like, man, like, don't you think like it would have been great if we had like done this or done that or something? And he said, oh yeah, like that was my entire plan, was when we started making music, so that, you know, 10 years from now, I would be looking back saying, oh, we should have done this. You know, it's like, you don't plan, you know, of course we did everything we could, you know, we tried what we thought was best at the time.
Yeah.
And it didn't really work. And then basically when they kicked me out, the way they put it was, we're going to start doing a duo. We're going to have a DJ duo, and we're going to help you with your music, Selden, but it's not going to be part of Dropout anymore. And they basically did. You know, I started this side project called Tommy Luck, where I was rapping basically to Ethan's beats and everything. And that, I mean,
that's cool.
That is a whole other thing, but that didn't work either. So now I'm just, I don't know, I'm grateful for the experience, and I'm back to doing what I love, which is writing music on acoustic guitar, and, you know, doing like singer-songwriter thing with the less than pretty voice that I have.
I heard those jams that get posted like on, you and I did that little compilation together of acoustic tracks, and then you sent me some of the stuff that you did with the band that you started practicing with in Goleta, and I think you write some good stuff. So the key is always just like getting it on record, right, and producing it so that it sounds clean and good, and then sharing it that way, which is a whole nother matter entirely. So how many years does this take us to then, all of what you covered? Does that take us to like relatively recently, right?
Sort of. I mean, let's see, I got kicked out of Dropout in 2016, I think, or the end of 2016. So 2017 is when I left Santa Barbara. I went to school in Berkeley, and then I came back in August 2019, and that's when you and I started talking again.
Okay, so that explains it, because how did you message me or did I message you? Maybe I messaged you.
I think I want to say I messaged you.
Okay.
But,
yeah, maybe, because I just remember being excited, like, oh shit, Selden, what's up, man? So I kind of remember that.
Yeah, it had been a long time. I mean, I saw that you were still posting stuff and making music, and we just hadn't talked in years, and it was like, oh, you know, it's so funny when you don't talk to someone in a long time, you're kind of like hesitant at first, and then as soon as you start talking, it's like, oh yeah, it's just like it's just like old times, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the thing. That's how you can tell, like, the real homies or not, because like real homies is not like it's like, oh hey man, like why the fuck would you be like that? Like
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
like life just happens. So it's not like you go like, okay, I'm gonna go away for a while and purposefully not talk to someone. It's just like people get caught up in their own lives. Like even me, I've been
Yeah,
super busy like from whatever that period of time since we last talked, which was what, I guess around 2014 then to 2019, so 5 years or something. It's not like
yeah,
they're waiting, like um I was super busy too, so it all makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Paths just cross eventually, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So
Sometimes it is an active effort. Like, and that's how you know,
yeah,
like, the people who come back up in your head or in your mind are probably the people you should be talking to, because if they don't cross your mind again, then it probably wasn't that important.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm really glad that we're at least doing something like this because COVID really ruined all the plans that we had, to have like those shows in my mom's garage. I was gonna have this whole series of like bands coming through, and I wanted to see what the scene was like and get back into it. Like especially over this summer, I really wanted to play as much as possible, as many gigs like together and everything with Destin's band too, and it just kind of anyway, the silver lining is that we have more time to practice and that we're able to talk, do this. You started this cool podcast, so that's one thing.
Because I don't think I would have done this without COVID, I guess. So that's a silver lining, like you're saying, is that
Yeah,
all of these things that I'm doing right now, would I have done them without COVID? And I don't know if I would have, because like it really started to shift my thinking a little bit, where I'm like, well, we can't play gigs. We're not working on our record. We're not working on like practicing. So
yeah,
and
you
I've always,
have to be engaged somehow.
yeah, and I definitely want to continue this beef with like Dante Elefante, and I definitely want to like do all of these like different things. So what am I gonna do? So that's kind of what.
So
Um,
okay, there's a question I have for you. Who is Dante Elefante? Like I've heard of him and I've watched some of your videos. Like I know what he looks like and like that funny video where you're like doing his laugh and stuff. But like I don't know who he is or where is he just a guy in the scene or
okay, so the first thing to say is that like I call him Dante from Dante Elefante, but his name is Ruben because he doesn't like that people think his name is Dante.
oh
But I also think, well, that's your fault because you named your band Dante Elefante and you feature your face everywhere. Like you don't feature any of the other band members in any of your art. You just have your own face. So what else are people gonna think other than it's that you're Dante? But Dante Elefante is a band that started around the same time that Intranet did, like pretty close together.
mhm.
We were in the same like rehearsal space out in Isla Vista. I'm pointing that way, but for you that doesn't mean anything. But I'm pointing to IV, and and we were a band that like we were really close. Actually, we played gigs together. Like I produced one of the tracks on their debut record on Bandcamp, the title track. Like I
Oh,
recorded
cool.
demos for them. So like we were a band that like really helped each other and were cool, etc. And around the time that my band started to like disintegrate and like go to shit, their band started like taking off. So that's
Mm.
basically what happened. Their band started taking off, my band started going to shit. And I think through that period of time and that process and the journey I went through, like his band eventually started to start going this way, and I started to just put my band back together. And I would have thought when because he's now back to kind of basically local musician. He has a little more like he has like a bunch of Spotify plays monthly, and he's able to like do DIY tours more easily than I would be able to. For example,
Yeah.
not big. But what happened is basically around like I'll just say 2 years ago or so, when internet started to be like real again, like this is a band, like we're actually being good, like we're doing gigs and like people are starting to know us a little bit more. Like there's a band called Late Bloomers. Do you know them? Late Bloomers?
I
Okay.
don't.
It's okay. Who
I should be paying attention to more like, local modern music.
no. That's fine.
I think
Yeah, no, they're good, but it's all good. Um, um, so Ruben from Don Telefonte knew internet was back, but he never like hit us up to do stuff, and he hit up our friends at Alex like Bloomers,
Mhm.
who would have had to have heard about and seen us together because we were doing shows together. Um,
Yeah.
like I'm being featured on some of their songs. Like Late Bloomers and internet are like pretty pretty close. And like he never hit us up to do anything. So from this, like it basically just sparked the idea of like, huh, well that's weird, because you'd think that local musicians who are close knit and tight, um, like he would have recognized at least that, oh cool, these guys are actually doing stuff again or doing
Yeah.
stuff in general. And so the thought that was just in my head is like, okay, got it. This guy is kind of like because his band was blowing up a few years ago, he now feels like he's like kind of on a different level, you know. And so just that thought, which fair or not, led to the idea of like, well, I don't like that. What can I do about it? Be angry, be upset, or start to find a creative way to use that. You know,
Yeah.
using the latter. So that's kind of what
So that's
the
watching his videos and critiquing them.
yeah, starting to
Starting to.
rap war.
Yeah. Like that video of the unboxing of the T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
That
you watch it?
that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
By the way, I'm echoing. Do you hear me echoing? I wasn't echoing before. Uh-oh. Hello? Uh-oh.
That
I'm losing it.
who's the guy
I'm having
in
internet.
the video?
If this is recording, I am having internet issues, everybody. You're watching the Best Average podcast. Selden, my guest, Selden Cummings, he's the homie. I'm having internet issues, everybody. Maybe they're his issues. There might be mine. Selden, can you hear me?
Can you
That's my internet connection.
there you are.
Hey, so you were telling me about the shirt, and I think you asked me a question. Sorry about that.
No problem. Who was the guy in the video?
Jay, the guy that you talked to on the phone.
Oh, that's the drummer?
Yeah.
Nice. He seems like a cool guy. Like he's funny. That was a good video.
Oh, I'm so glad you liked the video, man. You watched the whole thing?
Yeah. When he goes to Target and the people are like, I would never fucking wear that shirt.
Yeah. When he hit you with the baseball bat too?
With the baseball bat.
Yeah, do you remember the part where like maybe I'll show it to you again if you didn't get to check that part out. But we have the shirt hanging in my backyard and he like whacks it with the
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In the on the patio.
Yeah.
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 That was great.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of what that's
Dude.
about. That you know, I'm taking that energy of like, I guess being snubbed by a band that I would have thought would not snub us because we were close together for a long time and
Yeah.
friends. And rather than like be angry or whatever, use it in a way that is like creative to start to create a competitive edge in the Santa Barbara scene and entertain people.
That's great, man. And it would be great if he started coming out with videos like critiquing you. You know?
Yeah, he's just.
That would be.
I want him to so bad. I promise you.
But he's just been ignoring it, right?
Well, ignoring it. He's in the background, like blocking me or like putting copyright strikes on me, but then saying that there's no problems or saying like it's all like, you know, that he has no issues. So that's what's been happening.
Yeah. Well, hopefully something will come out of it because that's, you know, conflict always gets more views than nothing. So
it has been getting us like so many views actually, and like people are really liking it. Like, hell yeah, that's big. So it's just people's like primal instincts. Oh no. Sorry everybody watching the best podcast. I'm having internet issues all of a sudden, which is a bummer because we had not been having internet issues at all this entire time, and all of a sudden I'm having motherfucking internet issues, and it sucks because it's at the last piece of so. Hey.
Hey, is it working now?
Yeah, I don't know why this keeps happening. It sucks. I've been having such good internet this entire time, and then at the end of it, it starts to fuck up. Isn't that some bullshit?
Yes, that is some bullshit.
Yeah.
Did it record though? I hope.
It's all recording.
The whole
No, it better be recording because it says recording on the top left, so it stops.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean I saw that recording. I'm curious how it'll look like the parts where it cut out.
Oh, I don't know.
Like,
It'll look awesome. It'll look wonderful. This is a real.
Okay, good.
This is like there's no edits. It's all just it's all live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all live. It's great, man. It's good. This is a good way to,
It's really easy. That's what I like about it. Like, so I don't have to put like any effort into it at all other than like finding cool people to talk to, which has not been hard. Oh no, why do I keep having internet issues? Ah. Hello? That sucks that that's happening at this. So I wanted to learn about your... Fuck, man. Hello?
You there?
I'm there. Shit. All right. Well, that's probably going to start being the pattern then. But I think we ended up covering a good amount, and I think we should do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always way more stuff to talk about,
What are you up to right now? Like, what have you been up to lately?
So right now I'm in New York. My brother and I just drove across the country, which turned out to be freaking awesome. Even though it was stressful.
Yeah.
But we made it. We made it in 7 days.
And you're out there for school?
I'm out there, yes. So I'm in the MFA program at Columbia. I'm getting my MFA in poetry. So I'm here for 2 years in my new apartment here, which I'm just, I'm still unpacking and, decorating.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have my California rug over there.
Yeah. Great.
To remind me where I come from. What'd you say?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited for this program, even though it's all going to be online. So it's literally like us talking on Zoom right now for an hour is nothing. It's going to be like 4 to 6 hours a day on Zoom talking about poetry. Yeah. I'm so excited. But I'm stoked. I mean, like I'm literally in Manhattan. Like the Hudson River is about a block from my house. It's crazy. I never thought I would, live out here. It's so different than Santa Barbara.
Wow. How are you enjoying it so far?
I really like it. There's this energy to the city. I mean, I've barely been able to experience it because I'm on quarantine. Like California is, a hot state, so I can't. I'm not even really supposed to leave this room, honestly. Like I'm supposed to have all my food delivered. People have been helping me out. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. And when I first got here, I was able to like get groceries and stuff before moving into the apartment. But I'm supposed to just stay here for 14 days.
Yeah.
And then I can go out into the city. And there's a skate park. Just a brand new skate park right down the way. And I'm gonna go skate because obviously I can't surf here. And rock climb. I just need to get outside, and just see the city but my roommate's really cool. He plays music. He's in a punk band. I'll send you some of his stuff. It's really good.
You do, yeah.
He's a bassist and singer.
Oh, that's awesome. So. Send me anything, anytime that you think I would like. Like I'm always down to hear.
He was in a punk band called Spick. He's from Mexico City, and it was all Latinos in the punk band.
Yeah.
It sounds really good. It's badass. I have to send it to you. But he's in a different band right now. Trying to remember what they're called. I'll send it to you. We can give him a shout out.
How are you able?
But anyway, yeah.
Like have your
What's
own.
up?
So where's your bro?
So my brother is getting his PhD in art history in Massachusetts at Williams College,
Oh,
which is a liberal arts college
okay,
up there. So he's in like a rural place, you know,
I see.
um, a longer program. But we drove out here together, and it was great, you know, driving, because really since the pandemic, Mason and I we spent a ton of time together because he plays drums. So instead of playing with my band, I've just been playing with him. And actually, that's something that I would like to talk about. Or say at least. Mason and I made this kind of music video, like a live music video. You know, my dad is a photographer and videographer, and he filmed. So it was like this family project because of COVID, you know. And he filmed us playing a song basically about the virus, and it's a really cool video. I have the audio. I'm trying to fix the audio. I'm still not very good at mixing and producing and stuff, but once I do that, we're going to be putting that out on Facebook and stuff. So
Great.
I am still putting music out when I can.
Uh, Share it on Santa Barbara Music Scene group when it's ready.
Yeah, I will. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Good.
Yeah, that's, again, as a musician, it's been the biggest bummer, especially living here in New York. I mean, you know, this is like the epicenter. Normally there would be so many open mics, and,
Yeah.
you know, just possibilities are endless here, but I can't do anything other than just play guitar in my room. So hopefully things will get better. We'll see.
They'll get better, man. And I think I'm trying to find ways of removing music from physical locations and starting to move it just more online, you know, and engaging people that way and trying to build communities that way. So, and I'm sure eventually we'll be wearing virtual reality helmets to go to like concerts and stuff, and like, you know,
Yeah.
we won't even be at a venue. We'll be playing our guitars like on our computer chairs and like, but be in front of a crowd of people, you know, which is, I don't know if that's dystopian or utopian, but it's, but I think that's where things are going.
I think if it's, you know, if there's a pandemic, then it's kind of a little of both, you know.
Yeah, a little both, a little both.
So, yeah.
Well, cool, man. Well, why don't we end it here? I'm actually recording 2 episodes today, and my next one is starting at like 2 or 3. So you're gonna be my 7th episode, which is awesome because I think people are gonna be really stoked to like know who you are, and stoked to like learn about all these little details that you help color in, because I know that like I know Frank, my brother, will be interested to hear about like the Dropout thing, because I remember he and I were both like, "Whoa, what the hell is this?" Selden's doing, you know.
A nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, fucking sell out. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, like I don't think of it. I don't think of things in that way. Like I hear what you're feeling and saying, but I'm always like, who gives a fuck? Just do like now. I guess I do wish that you would have been passionate about it, because that always helps you. But beyond that, like, you know, if you look at my stuff, it's not like I'm just doing surf rock or something. I'm doing rap songs too. I'm doing like all kinds of other shit. And I would let Coca-Cola sponsor us for sure. Like easily.
Yeah.
Like I would.
Yeah. I know what you mean, but like at least you're doing your own music, though. You know, the music you enjoy, right? So I don't know. I'm glad I went through that, because it helped me get to I think a more authentic place with my music now. You know, but anyway, I wanted to say about Frank. It was good to see him on the podcast. He looks good. I like his long hair.
You do?
He had the kind of flippy, you know.
You would say that though. You would say that, long hair boy.
Yeah, yeah, I would. That's true. And people gotta know where I'm from, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, dude. Well, I feel like there's one more thing. Oh, do you remember when we were in the internet, we got featured by The Independent?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
have that newspaper clipping. It's back in Santa Barbara. I should send you that because it's fantastic. It's such a great picture of that era,
Please do.
of the internet.
I would love to see that, and I'm always looking to collect things like that. So if you have that and can send it to me at some point, then I would love to have it for sure.
Yeah, definitely, dude. You might have to wait till I come back for Christmas, but
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
and hit me up too if you're when you're in town, and like I'm always down to hang out.
Sounds good, man. It was great talking to you, and yeah, thanks for having me on.
The 7th episode of the Best Average podcast is over. Goodbye.
See you later.
Goodbye. Goodbye.